Hello everyone, welcome to night 37 of the Orphan Tales Live reading series. As you can tell, it's not really night yet. It is 7 p.m. and therefore you can see me in the daylight, which is gross, terrible, awful. Do not approve of this. I also worked all day. I've been up since 6. So I am exhausted beyond measure. I am loopy with tiredness, and this is my first of 2 readings tonight. So man, no promises on quality here or like being personable or anything. Like I think we're all doing well that I'm here and you can only, see my roots. Like daytime is just the worst. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this to ourselves? No. Nasty yellow face, we hates it. There was a time long ago when quoting Lord of the Rings made you super uncool to a lot of people, but deeply cool to a small group of people. And now it's kind of the other way around. But yeah, those were good times. I don't know, you guys. It's a lot. It's a lot today. I brought the bottle into the room because I can't leave this room for 2 hours. I said I was a little out of it. I don't know. I do not know. And just the birthday hat that I still haven't moved just fell down. I am a total, as my cousin once said in an epic game of catchphrase, when trying to get us all to guess the phrase basket case, I am a woven shit show. A phrase that will live in eternity. All right. Let's do our intro business. As always, this is a totally different color lipstick than it is when the dark is on. That is not as always. But I suppose it is technically. Color works that way. Oh my god, cat focus. As always, this is not an audiobook of The Orphan's Tales, this thing what I wrote 18 years ago. It is, in fact, a play. You might not think it's a play, but it's a play. See, there's this whole curtain. Comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down. You can find the music we're listening to based on these books at sjtucker.com, as well as all of her other brilliant stuff. You can catch up in the archive, except that I totally forgot to upload last night's video, but I will upload it tonight. You can catch up at the archive at Cat Valenti Live on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at Cat Valenti. You can subscribe to my Patreon, which I highly encourage you to do, not only because, life, but it's got lots of cool stuff coming this month. It's also Cat Valenti. You can buy copies of these books anywhere the books are sold, but I would highly encourage you to get them from your local independent bookseller, as they are all having a rough go of it. But they almost all have web portals, so find yours, or if you want to support mine, it is printbookstore.com. You can ask me questions after the feed. We have plenty of time before my next reading, but I hate sitting here awkwardly, and I especially hate doing it in the daylight while nothing happens on the feed. So think of your questions while I'm reading so that they can pop up right away and I can start rambling incoherently without making anybody wait. And you can put a tip in the tip jar in my Instagram profile or my YouTube profile or on my website at catherinemvalenti.com. These are a series of free readings, but if you are moved to toss a coin to your witch, it would be deeply appreciated, as everything sucks for freelancers right now. Thank you so much to Jennifer and Dave for tipping me yesterday. You guys are the best. And the day before. I will thank anyone who puts anything in the hat, even so much as a dime, on the next stream, unless you tell me not to. So yeah, that's everything. I did get it all this time. I know that's everything. So let's start moving with the Anchorite's Tale. I even forgot to sit in my preferred comfortable position. So I'm sitting properly with straight back, good posture. It's gross. Ugh. The Anchorite's Tale. I know what you're thinking. That somewhere in this world there is a race of people who carry their mouths in their bellies. That somewhere there is a tribe in which I would seem unremarkable. There is not. I am only a woman, born from a woman, sister to women. Alas, women were rare in the wild, honey-colored expanse of my home, the vast, grass-swept expanses of land, spotted with tree and horse. Thus my caravan was always small. Sons were born easily, brothers quickly had, husbands too numerous for few wives. Each woman had many. Men fought for the honor of marrying into her bed. The women born were always powerful, almost to a girl, a witch or a warrior. The birth of a daughter was celebrated by 3 nights of feasting on the meat of skinny ox and blue-bellied lizards. The birth of twin daughters was considered a miracle sent by the blessed stars. Triplets occurred once in a generation, when the snake star aligned with the harpoon star, and the light of the pierced serpent fell on the yellow grass. These star-born triplets are the emblem of the caravan. We were known for them. They were prized. Without these sacred births, we were no more than a ragtag band of horse traders peddling chicken feed as love charms from town to town. The triplets are called the Sorella, and I am the youngest of mine. I was born a full minute after my sisters. We are special. We are sacred. The oldest of each triad carries her eyes in her belly, the middle her ears, and the youngest her mouth. The organs are erased from their right places, but not gouged out, not torn. It is simply as though some god passed her hand over our faces and washed away our eyes, our ears, our mouth. We were the seer, the listener, and the speaker. We were Pangiota, Legiota, and Magiota. We were sisters. With one mind we guided the path of our caravan, for Legiota saw the path, Magiota heard the stars' commands, and I spoke the path. We could not lie, we could not guide our people falsely. If the Sorella were consulted, only I could reply, and I could not fail to answer truly, to tell the tale of what my sisters saw and heard. We were more than an oracle. Our faces were the valleys on which the star gods walked. We braided our hair into sacred habits, for our bodies were the vessels of the star's light, and no woven cloth could be more holy. It was whispered that the Sorella were the same women in each generation, that the spirits of one set of sisters simply stepped into the bodies of the next. I know nothing of that. I am Pangiota. I have always been. More than that, no one can tell. I often envied my sisters. After all, I only reported what they told me, what Legiota saw and Magiota heard. I too wanted to turn a secret ear to the sky and hear the white-hot words of the stars pouring into me like burning honey. I too wanted to see the path of truth extending from my lashes like a golden ribbon. But I could only open my hair like a curtain and let my hidden mouth speak. The gods touched my sisters. They did not touch me. I used to pray that we could trade powers, that I could, just once, be the woman who laid out her body under the stars and let their light spill onto my belly. Children make prayers so thoughtlessly, building them up like sand castles, and they are always surprised when suddenly the castle becomes real and the iron gate grinds shut. One day, which was not unlike any other day on the steppes, when the honey cakes boiled in their pans and men shot lazy arrows at raccoons and voles who were little more than bundles of dry bones, Legiota and Magiota called me to their secret place. We crouched in a cavern of black rock hidden in the flank of the orange and white banded cliffs which marked the edges of the grassland of our home. In the shadows, the sound of water dripping from the stone ceiling made us sleepy and calm. But that day, my sisters were awake and nervous as foxes that scent a huntsman. They had unbraided their hair from crown to toe and sat naked in the cave, their bellies displayed like jewels. I have seen a new path, Legiota whispered. I have heard the footsteps of the stars diverting from their courses. Magiota added, clutching my hands in hers. I realized suddenly that they were frightened. There will be no more Sorella after us. The caravan is dying. There will be more daughters soon than ever were born to us, and mothers will no longer pray for them. There will be no more triple births. The harpoon star has refused to pluck out the eyes, ears, and mouths of any other daughters, and the snake star will not plant them in other wombs. They will give us generations of daughters as compensation, but all of them will be plain. They will not be born with any power. They will have to wrest it from this cave, which is deeper dug in the earth than even we had guessed. we will be forgotten. When the last gray-haired grandmother who remembers us bleeds her blackest blood onto the earth, the caravan will hunger and thirst and die. Legiota spoke matter-of-factly, as though she spoke of the average rainfall in the flats. A man has been born, whose great-great-grandson will murder the snake star, and there is no longer any path the serpent of heaven can take which will not lead to her death. She's told me this. She mourns herself under the black veil of sky. The Sorella were her handmaids while she lived. We cannot serve her when she is dead. She has told me that she will take other stars as her own, little snakes to be her pallbearers, and remove herself to a temple far removed from the cursed city, to wait for her doom to come on heavy feet. Magiota's eyes filled with tears, and they dripped onto the shell-like ears in her belly. Pangiota, my sister, I am afraid of death, Legiota rasped. Why should you fear to die? I asked. If this will not come to pass until the prime of the grandson, we will not see the serpent perish from the sky. We will not see the new handmaids take our place. We are safe, if no longer blessed. My sisters exchanged glances, and Legiota passed her hand over the smooth expanse where her eyes might have been. You do not understand. We too are her handmaids. We will go into seclusion with her, and give our strength to hers, our sight and our hearing to the little snakes, so that in 5 generations her light will be so great that she will rise again from her own murder. My eyes drooped and my shoulders fell. I touched my sisters' bellies with affection and sorrow. And I am not to go with you. Pangiota. Legiota's eyes softened and creased their corners, trying to make her words as gentle as she could. You are the least of us. Never has the serpent star seen you or touched you. She knows only of you as our sister. You only speak, and she does not care for human speech. For the Sorella, you are vital. For the serpent, you do not exist. And the stars have determined that the Sorella should be broken. These words hit me like a bellow of hot wind, but I knew them to be true. I was nothing, only a mouthpiece, a mute pipe into which my sister's breath flowed. I bent my head and nodded, knowing how small I was in their presence. Maggiota threw her arms around my waist and pressed her fluttering ears to my lips. It was an intimacy we 3 rarely shared, the touch of lash to lip to low. We will go. We love our God as we love you. But we have decided together we cannot let the Sorella pass from the world. We have sat vigil in this cave, searching out a path which would allow us to stay with you, to stay Sorella, and to birth another 3 which will carry on our memory past the death of the star. No caravan should be left blind, deaf, mute, and helpless. And we have found a way. Maggiota smiled and drew a small knife from her skirts, a curving silver blade with a handle of bone. What has been ours will be yours, Pangiota. We will cut out our eyes and ears and give them to you to swallow. The power will be passed to you, all the Sorella, in one body. And you will leave the caravan, you will leave the horses whose smell you know like your own, and go into a city covered in a dome of roses. And there you will wait for the beast to cry out to you. I have seen this already. I have seen you walking under white petals. Legiota's eyes gleamed from her navel like green torches in the dark. You will swallow the child of the beast, as you will swallow our flesh, and bear the creature within you like your own daughter. In this way, 2 races will be saved, and the 3 of us will always be together, beyond the death of the star. We will go into seclusion, and you will go into the wicked city to give birth to us over again. Maggiota stroked her ears quietly. I do not understand, I cried, unwilling to devour my own sisters, terrified of their strange words. Of course not, of course not. But you will. Prophecy is such a difficult thing, but we know there is no other way to preserve the Sorella, and we will not refuse the call of the serpent. Ah, how I wept as I watched them. Naked as animals, they performed the surgery before my eyes. Maggiota seized the knife and plunged it into her belly. It entered her with the sickening, slick sound of a finger passed through running water. It slowly cut her sacred ears from her stomach, sweating and crying quietly as she worked. She tried to keep her smile so as not to frighten me, but I could not bear the sight. I retched in a corner of the cave while her whimpering sounded in my own ears. Legiota carved out her eyes next, never allowing herself to moan, but her breath was ragged as a torn dress, and her hands, when I turned back to them, were shiny and wet with blood. Here we have an illustration of a familiar knife. They placed the lumps of pitiful flesh in front of me like servants laying out an exquisite cake for their lady. Both still bled, yet they smiled and smiled, unbraiding my hair with almost maternal care, just as they used to when we were girls together. They pulled the long sheaves of hair aside and put their arms around me, cradling my body with their own and stroking my face with sticky red hands, urging me to swallow them, to close my eyes and do it before the organs cooled and died. I screamed and screamed in their arms, my voice echoing in the rocky chamber until it seemed as though we were surrounded by a chorus of shrieking ghosts. They hushed me and held me close. Finally, through my screams, I seized the bloody clumps of my sisters and pressed them into my mouth, gagging, swallowing, gagging again. I forced it down my belly throat, and my tears mingled with their blood until all I could taste was salt. It was quiet afterwards. I lay on the cool rock, and they lay over me, blood drying on our skin like paint. We lay like lovers, tangled together in pain and sorrow. Legiota pushed the matted hair from my ear and said, "Now we will never leave you. You are all of us, and you will go on. We will leave the world. You will go into its steaming heart. But remember that you are always Sorella. It is your duty to guide the caravan, the ramshackle train of kindred that crawls over the face of the earth, scrabbling at the dirt for fruit, scrabbling at the skies for revelation. When the beast has gone from the city and you have done your duty by her, you must be Sorella for all the caravans and perform our duty for them. They'll come to you, and you must see them, and hear for them, and speak for them. Cut your hair when you go into the city. Wear the threads not your own. Wear their threads and not your own. But when you have finished your maternity, when you are ready, braid it again into our holy dress. And we will be with you, inside you, and we will love you for all the days of this body." With these words, Legiota and Magiota laid their heads on my breasts like daughters and died, their spirits, their light, rising like steam to join the serpent in seclusion. I wept alone in the dark. The second griffin's tale continued. Giota's eyes were dry and dull. By the time I reached the diamond turrets of Shadukium, I could hear the voices in me. I could hear the stars singing in their choirs, and I could see the path stretching out before me like a golden ribbon. I was not Pangiota any longer. I was only Giota. All of us and none of us. It is difficult to keep straight. Sometimes I seem to speak to them, sometimes to myself, sometimes to the dead air. I have done my duty by the beast, by the griffin, and now I must do my duty by my sisters. I must be the Sorella of Shadukium, the anchorite, the oracle. I stared dumbfounded at her, humbled by the expanse of what I had not guessed about her. "But why must you chain yourself to the wall? You can be an oracle anywhere. There are towers full of them. You could stay in my nest, and the folk of the city could come out to you." Giota looked at me with wild eyes, vulnerable as a lamb beneath wolf's teeth. Though I knew her mouth was free and wide in her belly, the featureless skin where it should have been made it seem as though she was gagged with some terrible rope. "I am so frightened, Gori. If I do not do this thing now, I will not stay. I will go with you, and I will abandon my sisters. All my life I have prayed to have their power, and I am so frightened of it now. Do not begrudge me this. It is who I am, just as you will one day have your gold and your eggs to look after. I must look after them." She raised her hand to stroke my face, such a small hand, then lowered it to peel off her dress. "Help me, my daughter. Help me braid my hair again." I lowered my head to those long, coarse strands, their familiar smell overwhelming me, and lifted one bundle of hair over another with my beak, slowly, clumsily weaving her habit down to her ankles. My tears fell onto the strange fabric and left great golden stains on the braids. Mother, and with the word a swollen river burst in my heart. Will I truly have gold of my own and eggs to tend? I cannot really believe it. I cannot believe the race of griffins will go on. If you are an oracle now, if you are the anchorite, then you must tell me the truth. You cannot reassure me with lies. Kuri, your brother lives, and while he does, you have a duty to perform as much as I do. He will quicken your eggs, and you will have 3 chicks to warm the fur of your haunches. Go and return to the Red Mountain and find him. With this, Giota clamped her chains around her wrists and took her place at the wall. I left her, though my bones mourned, and turned to the plains of Nuru to find my brother's blue plumage again and obey my mother, as all good children do. And we will pick up tomorrow with the conclusion of the tale of the Griffin and the King. Man, Giota's voice is rough on the throat. It's a good choice when I have a whole other reading to do tonight. That is at 8 o'clock, by the way, over at Cereal Box Pub. But I think that it will probably notify you on my account too, because I'm joining their stream rather than streaming directly through them. But I'm going to be reading A Perfect Host, which is my pandemic story. They asked me to write it while I was still in Australia. I wasn't even home yet. And so it's got to be the fastest I ever turned trauma into art. But if you would like to hear my my mythologizing the pandemic story, the reading will start at 8 tonight. Still can't get over Woman Shit Show. It is the best. My cousin Jenny has an extraordinary ability for memorable lines, and I will never forget it. I will be 90 and still calling things a Woman Shit Show. Does anybody have any questions while I soothe my Giota throat? Well, I will do my outro stuff. You guys can ask questions. I'm just got to get this out of the way. So you can find music based on these books at sjtucker.com. You can find these books wherever books are sold. Please support your local independent bookstores through their web portals. Mine is printbookstore.com if you would like to support a main company. You can find me on Twitter at Cat Valenti. You can subscribe to my Patreon at Cat Valenti, which is full of new and exciting things this month. You can catch up in the archive at Cat Valenti Live on YouTube. And you can put a little something in the tip jar on my Instagram profile or my YouTube profile or on my website at catherinemvalenti.com if you should be so moved. These are absolutely free. You don't have to do anything to watch them, but times are tight and it is quite a lot of work to put these together every night. So it is deeply, deeply appreciated. Everybody who has tipped me so far is my absolute hero forever in life. And I will thank you by name on the next stream if you do. Okay, well, nobody has popped up any questions. I will be taking questions at the Cereal Box Pub reading at 8 o'clock as well. So if you didn't get one in, you can just pop over there. I'll be doing a little chat and Q&A both before and after the reading. It's a very short story, so it won't be, it's not some kind of epic novelette or anything. So I think it should be a good reading. I quite like this story. It's very different than when I read it. It's very different than the reading that Cereal Box published, which is awesome. But I mean, read by a guy, and I am not one, so it'll certainly be a different feel to it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope to see some of you there. So yeah, I'll either see you in a half an hour, or I will see you tomorrow night at our usual time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Same fairy tale time, same fairy tale channel. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in early, and I'll see you on the flip side when it's dark again. Blessed, blessed, forgiving darkness.